Welcome back to Should You Watch This? I'm the Popcorn Priest. Today we're continuing our Behind the Reel series where we step away from traditional reviews and talk directly to the people who make the movies. I'm joined today by director Kyle Weingart, actor Zuzu Weingart, and lead actor Kevin Jack to talk about Cuisine de l'Apocalypse, a film that blends genre, tone, and some very specific creative choices. So I really appreciate you guys joining us. Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So I wanted to start off with kind of origin and intent for this film. And first questions for Kyle. I wanted to start at the beginning. What was the spark for the project? Not plot-wise specifically, but emotionally. Like, what made this story you felt like you had to tell?
I'd say the thought of it being a story that we had to tell came pretty far down the process, actually, of making iterations of this film. We did 2 other proof of concepts, but one thing that really was like, now's the time to tell this story in a big way was during COVID, when creators were creating no matter what. The world was kind of done for a while, and people just kept making videos, making stories, and artists came out of the woodworks and started blossoming all over the place. And so that was when we were just like, we have to do this now, because it's very relevant.
My show was born in COVID too. I got furloughed from a job, and I always wanted to do a movie review podcast, and that's where it was generated. So it's really interesting you bring that up. All right, so I wanted to talk to the cast. It feels like a very collaborative film. Kyle, when did you know that Zuzu and Kevin were right for the roles? I know you guys have a special connection, Zuzu, obviously with your last names.
Yeah, me and Zuzu are married, almost 15 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. It's been easy. Kevin Jack, actually, when we made our first proof of concept, I'd written the role for somebody else. I did not know Kevin. And he couldn't make it. And then Zuzu was like, I got this guy I work with that I think would be perfect for a part like this. You might have to, change it because Kevin's so funny. And because John was not supposed to be funny at first. And then Kevin came out and just created Chef John out of thin air. And so when I wrote the part in the feature film, it was him the whole time. And same with Zuzu, it was her the whole time when I was writing it, because I leaned on who they were as people and what I knew about them and where they would really shine. And I kind of took advantage of what is so awesome about both of them.
That's a great answer. And I wanted to build on that with Zuzu. What about this character made you say yes? I know obviously you guys are married, but was there anything that scared you about it or didn't, resonate with you?
Yeah. So Kyle mentioned that he wrote it with me in mind, which is great, but it was pushing my boundaries for sure. I am a mom. The kids in the film are my own kids, so that part of it was really easy.
Okay.
The connection there. Yeah, this character was very strong woman. She's this powerhouse, which I am not. I'm not. I'm glad Kyle can pull that out of me, which is great. But I was a little intimidated when I first read the script. I was like, "You wrote that for me? Oh shoot!" But I really fell in love with the character of Laura and her just boldness, which I feel like I don't have in my real life. But I always say Laura is way cooler than I am. And it was really fun to be able to play that role.
Well, it shows on screen, and I didn't know it was your kids, but that makes those scenes a little different in my mind. So thanks for sharing that. And the last for Kevin, same question for you. What pulled you in? I know we just heard the story of how you were cast. I'm just curious to hear about what everyone thinks about when they read scripts and come onto the projects.
Zuzu and I, we worked at the same steakhouse. So I met Kyle. They came in for dinner one night, and Kyle brought up this idea. And for the first proof of concept, we had a script. I don't really cook, and I've never been in the Army, and I don't think I've ever shot a gun before. So we had like those elements in that first iteration. And I think just reading it, I basically just went, what do I think this character can do? Like, what can he do? Because we were dealing with lentils and dealing with sort of like our own, in a way, our own little, COVID situation in the apocalypse, where this chef was trying to create this show, and I just sort of formed it on my own. And as we were filming that first proof of concept, that just sort of kind of came through. Cal gave me some guidance, and then I just sort of went with what my gut was telling me how I was going to be portrayed and seen on screen with this character. Because I'm certainly not going to be this big tough guy. I know that that's really not going to pretty much go over. So I just kind of sort of acted the way I thought that John would be, and as we started doing it and kind of creating it and going more and more with it, we sort of started seeing, who this character can be, and just having like so much fun with it. And there were elements, even in the first iteration to The Office, we were kind of breaking the fourth wall. And I get, from time to time, people think I look like Steve Carell, which is awesome. Love him.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say. I'm glad you said
That's
it.
right. Got a little Michael Scott going, which is great. I love Michael Scott. I love The Office. And even I have to admit, when he was showing me sort of the scenes where I'm like looking at the camera, I just went, "Oh my god, that's that's Office." That's just sort of kind of took off from there. And then from the next proof of concept, we built on that, and then built on that more for the film. So
That's great. I love.
Yeah.
I'm a designer by trade, and so layering different things on projects really, I think, enriches the whole end result. So that's really interesting. I just wanted to say too to Kyle, Lilo Butler, his subtle humor really drew me in. You've got Emilio Rivera, Natasha Leggero, and Hercules himself, Kevin Sorbo. You don't have to talk about each one, but just like the casting of those people as well. It's interesting to see familiar names and also unfamiliar names.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, Nilo, he was around. I actually worked with him up in Montana. And then when I moved to California, he hit me up one day and he's like, "Yo, dude, I just moved down to California." So he was there from the beginning, from the first proof of concept. And he's just been so funny and so down just to do whatever and try stuff out. So he's been there since, we cast Chef John. I wrote the part for him as well. And then Kevin Sorbo, Emilio Rivera, and Natasha Leggero, they were all just dream come true, basically. We just reached out and they read the script and said yes. I was pretty intimidated. I'd never worked with name talent in that capacity as far as directing them goes. And they were all, each one of them was so just down and had just such a respect on set that I was a little, you hear stories about actors being divas, and I kind of expected them to show up and meet me, a young first time kid director. I'm not a kid, I'm 36. But no, they were all so great and just like, "So what's going on here?" And I would pitch them. Kevin Sorbo was like, "So what happens in between the time that I get taken by the zombies and then come back?" And I'm like, "Oh man, you get taken down to the underworld and you fight the Grim Reaper and you grab his scythe and you come back," and just pitched him this really wild story. And he's just like, "Okay, cool. That sounds awesome." And Emilio shows up. He's just like, "Can I have a sword?" And we're like, "Yeah, we got a sword." And then Natasha showed up and she had a big lift, like the Princess Leia lift, I like to say, where it's like she's throwing out all this jargon and kind of explaining what's going on in the world. And she got it down, and we just kind of sat there getting very technical with these terms and making sure that they make sense because she didn't know what they meant. I barely did, but it had to, Sweet Melissa's character had to know what they meant, So yeah, we broke it all down. Yeah, for a bunch of cowboys out here in Montana. Yeah, she showed up and she was a boss. We only had her for 2 days. But
you got a lot out of her for 2 days. That's
yeah,
very. Yeah, very impressive. Because I remember reading the script and I was going, "Oh my gosh, like who are we gonna get?" And it was kind of coming down to the wire. So, because we had the scene where John is tied up, we had different takes with her and also in the room. where he's cutting the prime rib, and I was so impressed how she was able to get that down. It was a lot. So she was phenomenal. All of them were great. Kevin was so helpful. It was, for me, acting with Kevin Sorbo, that was, how cool was that? Right? I mean, that's I still get that from people who have seen the film, or friends at work or things like that. You were like doing that scene with Kevin Sorbo, like, yeah, it was sort of one of those moments where you got to keep yourself centered. Know what you need to do, but you're also saying, "Wow, look at this!" And Natasha, like, oh my gosh, when we got her, that was such a blast. And Emilio's intense. Like, he's the nicest guy, but he's so intense. And in that first scene where he and I meet eye to eye, he was giving me this look, and I wasn't acting. I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? And we just sort of kept doing it. So from take to take, and I remember at the end, he came up to me and he goes, "I'm so glad you gave me that look, because it kind of helped me." And I went, okay, like, that's fantastic. And
As he puts on his Sons of
Oh,
Anarchy jacket.
they were great. They were great to work with.
It really felt like everybody, it's like the sixth man coming in for 3 minutes in the game, hitting a couple of threes. Like, everyone was really
Right.
kind of just soaring when they needed to be. So that's really cool. Well, speaking of performance, I wanted to ask Kevin, your character carries a lot of the emotional weight of the film. How did you approach finding that balance without overplaying it, which I think you did a pretty good job of that.
Thank you. That was my number one thing, because John it's like Kyle had said, look, it's Gilligan's Island, and you're Gilligan. And so there's that fine line. You don't want to take it over the line. And there are some poignant moments in the script that I'm so happy they were there, because John needed that, whether it's in the camper with Laura, where he's talking with Wallace, and especially that scene where Lando is playing that song. There were moments that I definitely wanted to capture and take advantage of, and just sort of give John a humanity, because other than that, I mean, he's rotisserieing a chicken in the middle of the haunted forest. He's doing all this stuff. He's got the outfit. So people are going to be drawn into that, but it is important at certain moments that there is a humanity to him, that there is an underneath layer to him that means something. He doesn't, his brother is out there, and that's his brother. It's also Laura's husband, but that is his brother, and that's his nieces. So it means something to him. So it was really important for me to do that, because I knew on the other stuff I was going to take it as far as I could. So if anyone's going, okay, you did, yeah, I was getting, it got a little bit, but you didn't go over the line, then I did my job, because there were great moments for me to take advantage of that. Hopefully I did.
I think you did, and it shows on screen when there are those tonal shifts. And speaking of tonal shifts, this one's for Zuzu. Your performance walks a really interesting tonal line as well. How did you and Kyle talk? Did you talk about how your character was going to do that, or did you just have some freedom to take what you from your experience into the role, or was it just all tone before?
We had a lot of conversations about it, for sure, but I also brought to it the fact that Laura isn't the way she is by choice, it's by circumstance. And she is in the apocalypse. She needs her husband is now gone, and she needs to protect her children at all costs. So she doesn't want to be the downer all the time. It just happens. Everybody else is being crazy. And I think that was a challenge, in the sense that everyone else was having so much fun in every scene, and I had to come in and be like, you guys are all crazy, you suck. But yeah, I think the story needed that character to kind of ground it, to give the audience someone to relate to. Kyle and I did have a lot of conversations about that before going into it.
It's really insightful, because you do need a character like that because we're all screaming at the screen like, why would you do that? And so your character is the one that's like, yeah, this is a dumb idea, you guys. Yeah. So I like that your character brought that.
I don't think it actually happened on set, but when I think back about the shoot, I feel like Zuzu would come in and I'd be given, we'd be working through blocking with everybody, and they'd be like, so, why am I doing this? And Zuzu's like, Zuzu would come in. So let me guess, I get to be the bummer, and just walk in. And it was kind of like that for the most part, unfortunately. But
Well, that's a follow up for you, Kyle. Then did everyone just agree on the tone? Was it molded on set? Because it's an interesting. There's not only different genres, but the tone shifts so much. So
Mhm.
I'm just curious if it mattered to you what everyone was saying, or
Yeah. So the tone of just like all out wackiness was decided pretty early on. The first iteration of Cuisine we did was kind of wacky but kind of grounded. Then the second one we did was pretty wacky, and then we're like, this is what the wackiness is really what's working for this film, and this is or this idea, and this is what I love about it the most. So we wanted to push that as far as we could. We kind of knew we had the take on the day when we'd be like, oh, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. That's the one. But then I really wanted to push these emotional moments and make them real. We pushed really hard to make those happen, like where Kevin was talking about those moments earlier, where he was really real. But then there's times when there's the time in the dinner scene with Sweet Melissa when he's cutting the prime rib, where I remember chatting with him about how he wants to deliver his final when he's talking to Zuzu or Laura and telling her, what do I have back home? We have my nieces, but I hardly see them. And, we live like damn vampires. And I remember telling Kevin, push this as hard. This is your time to just let it all out. And he did. And it more than anything, it just felt right. I just felt like these big, with all the wackiness, there's got to be a heart to the film. And so those emotional moments, I don't know, we really wanted them to hit, and we wanted you to get them in your feels. And that was just a big thing. I just felt if for all the, wacky and funny stuff that's going on, if we can also make people feel for the characters, not just like them, but feel for them, then we'd have something unique. Between all the reviews that we get, the biggest compliment we get is how much they love the characters. And I just feel like that's a testament to them not just being one note, not just being wacky and ridiculous. They're also, each one of them has a moment of self-reflection and doubt. And just like humans.
I think that's important. We're recording this on New Year's Day, by the way, everybody. So happy New Year's or New Year's Eve, excuse me, not New Year's Day. But
I was like, where are you?
I was like, whoa, maybe I'm in another country. No, I'm I'm in Utah, so we haven't celebrated yet. But what I was thinking about when you said that is, and I don't want to draw shade on any other film, but during the holiday season, me and my family always watch Home Alone, and I think the reason why Home Alone 1 and 2 work so well and the other ones don't is they don't have those scenes of heart. It's really fun to see someone get hit in the face with a paint can, but it's something different when you're talking about your estranged father or your estranged kid and how you just really want to talk to him for the holidays. So I applaud you for that, because that really, like you said, it's coming out in the people's reviews. It's what people want to see, apart from all the other stuff that's in there.
Yeah. Well, and on that note, Wallace, the preacher man, his character is totally designed off of the old man in the first one with the snow shovel. Like, that's where he gets his snow shovel, is from Home Alone.
Oh, there you go.
It's a great movie.
It's a Christmas miracle. Well, I wanted to jump into behind the scenes because as a movie lover, I love buying physical media because I get to see commentary, I get to see how they made stuff. I'm reading Lord of the Rings with my kids right now, and I'm showing them the movies after we watch them, and I'm showing them like, look what they did with this, miniature, and then look what they did with this, and my kids are just blown away. So behind the scenes are what's interests me the most. So what's a behind the scenes moment, this is for everybody, that sums up what the shoot was really like, something that audiences would never see on screen?
Good question, Chris.
I've got one. I'll go first.
Yep. Go first.
Lava Land in the cantina. We did the whole scene where everybody had the cheeseburgers. There's a band playing. It was this whole fun Lava Land. art team did a great job building the set, and it was the coolest set that we had. It was in a soundstage, but when we wrapped that day, everybody stuck around and we just hung out in the cantina. And it was the cast and the crew, and we were all just hanging out in Lavaland. And I really think it was a testament to the camaraderie that we had in this film and the behind the scenes. Yeah.
And how far along in the shoot was that? Was it in the middle, the end, or the beginning?
When was it, Kyle? It was middle-ish.
It was like 3 weeks, so just past the middle. But we ended up going back to the cantina a lot.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's really cool. Any other behind the scenes moments that someone might not know about or get to see?
You would have to have been there, but Kyle literally created a world. He created New Missoula, and we could walk. It was like it was a neighborhood. There were streets and storefronts, and at night, especially when it lit up, it was magical. It was really something that just blew me away beyond anything. And I remember when we did a reshoot where we kind of condensed it, the energy in there, because we had so many like extras, and the band was there as well. And I remember we brought that newswoman in, and everyone was freaking out. Like I did not know who she was, but she's like she's a local newswoman who's been there for so long, and we got her to do a little blip on the film. The vibe was so great. I was blown away. That one I think really sort of just was like wow, you know. But I have to say also, all the sets were ridiculously amazing. They were so amazing. They were just, it was really like mouth drop. But when we meet Andy for the first time, that set, when he's eating the tortilla chips and like we huddled into that gas station, dude, there were times where even in between takes, we were just walking around, just looking at, I took photos, and we had all this stuff all over the place. Like it was so impressive how they created this world, and it helped me immensely, and I know it helped everyone else. Like you fall into this place, and you just can't help but not want to be a part of it. So those moments really stand out to me a lot.
Well, I mean that maybe a follow up to you, Kyle, is like I'm not going to pretend to know what the budget is on a production like this, but I'm sure that it was stretched to get all these scenes or scenery to be where they needed to be.
Yeah, no, our art team was killer. Definitely made our money go very far. We definitely had a nice budget for what I'm used to. That's another thing that we get in a lot in our reviews is like, I can't believe they made this with this budget. I know one moment that kind of, not moment, but something that I think is an interesting behind the scenes for you, is all the shots of New Missoula that are like little moments in the town just to kind of sell the world. We had shot in October originally at the very end of our shoot, and it was cold. Everybody basically had to be wearing jackets, and you could see their breath. And when we cut it all together, I hated it because I'm just like, this is an oasis. People have to want to come here, So we ended up, doing reshoots, like Kevin was saying, for all that stuff. So all the New Missoula stuff, we have more that didn't make the movie because everybody was wearing coats and they didn't look comfortable. It was just so important that New Missoula was a place that you'd want to go visit. And if it was cold like it gets here in Montana, people wouldn't want to come visit. So the majority of what you see in the film is, reshoots that we did in the spring once it warmed up. And that was a rule that I had when we were filming it. I'm like, nobody can wear coats. Everybody shorts and T-shirts. Like it has to feel like Hawaii, And then, of course, that was the night it was raining a bunch. And so all those shots, it would rain, and then as we were setting up, and then it would stop, and then we'd run down and wipe everything down and dry everything off, and then roll camera, and then we'd get it. And then I swear it felt like as soon as we cut, it started raining again. And so then we'd have to go out and dry everything off again. But you watch the movie and you can't tell.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I really appreciate you guys sharing those behind the scenes moments, because that's what I think brings in fans and really makes some connections with us who are the consumers. So I appreciate that. maybe some takeaways for you, Kyle. When people finish this film, what do you hope sticks with them?
The characters, and I hope they want. And when I say characters, I also mean New Missoula. Like, I feel like I hope that people want to come hang out with these guys and spend some time in New Missoula. I know everybody who is involved with the production keeps asking, are we going to do another one? Can we come back to New Missoula? But New Missoula's gone. We tore it to the ground. It was a lot of work. But yeah, I don't know. All these, I get to hang out with Laura every day, but and Kevin every once in a while. I want to get the gang back together too, for sure.
I mean, that's a good segue to Zuzu and Kevin's actors in this film. Is making this movie change how you look at stories like this, or is this a one-time thing? Are you seeking out for other roles that might be inspired by what you've done here? Or
Yes, definitely.
excellent.
Yeah, such a great experience. We had such a great cast. I feel like we all just, especially Hero Squad, we all got really close and we worked really well together. So I'd love to see more of the world of Cuisine de l'Apocalypse, but also do more roles like Laura. I am a mom of 3 kids, so that is something that comes very naturally to me on screen as well. So yeah, I'd love to do more like that.
That's awesome. Well, Kyle, I'm reminded, I don't know if you know about Edgar Wright's 3 Flavors Cornetto, the trilogy that he made, and how, Shaun of the Dead is zombies. The next one is cops, and the next one was aliens. Like, do you want to shift to some other genre, or do you want to keep going in this direction? Do you have what's next? Are you cooking anything up?
Our next film that we're doing is next fall. It's a film that Zuzu wrote, actually. It's a beautiful film about 2 grown women completing a bucket list written by a 9-year-old of things to do before you turn 10.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's called Counting to 1,000. It's a beautiful script. She's amazing. And that was one that she wrote that I'm going to direct because she's going to star in it. But stuff from that I'm like concepts that I'm coming up with and that I'm writing are they all end up being in the realm of a good time, and movies that I want to see, like Cuisine de l'Apocalypse is by default one of my favorite movies of all time because it's everything I wanted. But yeah, I have a show and a trilogy planned out for Cuisine that I would love to do someday. And then I have a film that takes place in space that I want to do. And, but yeah, they're all, I think, pretty unique concepts, but they're all pretty, well, another thing is like, I like to make movies that actors want to be in because they're like, oh, I want to be in that, that's going to be too much fun. So I feel like all my ideas are something like that. I have some concepts I've pitched to actors like for years. Nilo is still holding out for the film I'm doing called Space Car. I pitched it to him way back like a decade ago. And when he's in California, he's like, so we doing Space Car? And I'm like, no, we don't have the money for that yet. So we made Cuisine instead. But,
okay.
yeah.
Well, that sounds really cool. I always like asking because it's fun to see what's coming up next, and gets us excited to see more of what we've liked from our creators. So appreciate that. The last thing I want to do is, I always do this on Behind the Reel, is a lightning round. There's a couple questions I'm just going to throw out, and would love anyone and everyone to answer. My twins always throw in a question. My 12-year-old daughter asked, "Do you like being a director?" is what she says.
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's hard.
Here's 3 questions. Favorite scene to shoot for you, Kyle, or be in, Zuzu and Kevin. Hardest day on set, and maybe one word to describe the film.
My favorite scene was Kiss Me Deadly, when we're in the haunted forest. It's so good. I read it, just reading it, I'm like, oh God, this is going to look great. And then when I saw the film, I could not believe how, even on a technical part, like the editing and the choreography, and I literally, my back was to everything. So, as I'm lip syncing the song. Like all this stuff's kind of happening. So I didn't really get to see much of anything until we saw which is, you know, you're on the set, but everything's you're not seeing anything until you actually get to watch it. It was just like, it blew me away. That is my favorite scene of so many in that film. What was the other, Chris?
Hardest day on set.
Ugh.
I mean, you guys talked about the rain. Seems like that was a challenge sometimes.
Yeah,
but...
I mean, we had some weather issues. You know, it really wasn't. I mean, to be honest,
cool.
I think probably doing the late nights.
Yeah, I think Haunted Forest when it was real cold, the Haunted Forest stuff, which is when we did the dance fight. So also Kevin's favorite, but it was so cold that night. It was like 4 a.m, and we were all freezing.
And I'm not used to that. And I felt bad for them because at least I've got the camouflage and pants on. Like, you know, Zuzu's got a t-shirt. Poor Nilo's got like the you know, the short sleeve shirt and the shorts. I was just like, and we're just these propane tanks. Like,
he was wearing socks.
Yeah, unreal. Like that was definitely a challenge. But other than that, every day was a blessing. It was so much fun. It was just great.
I mean, that seems like a testament to you guys. We've talked about chemistry in this shoot, and if everyone's saying, "Man, I didn't really have a hard day," that's a really cool thing, and that's a testament to the director, you guys coming together and really giving it their all, and that's a really cool answer. I like that. Well, is there anything, Kyle or Zuzu or Kevin, that maybe I didn't touch on that you want the listeners to know about this film? The floor is yours.
Write a good review.
That's
Get
what I
on
was
that
going to say.
Amazon. Watch it, love it, good review, spread the word, because that's how movies like this get some traction. And everyone who I've at least got, even guests at the restaurant, love it. Like, and they've been telling friends so that's how, if we can just get more of the word out. So far so good, I mean, but that's the way to do it. Just get on that Amazon and write something, just write anything, that's the beauty of this film. Is that, you're either in, you're out. And I kind of like that. It's because you're going to evoke an emotion. It's really going to grab you. And we tell you in the first 5 seconds, put away your critical pants, put them away, step back and just enjoy. We're going to bring you're going to go into a world and you're going to love it. And so definitely that would be my.
Thanks, Kevin. Anybody else?
Yeah, just because it's the apocalypse doesn't mean it's the end of the world, which is the theme of the movie. So, yeah.
Yeah, come hang out with us in New Missoula.
Yeah, I liked what you said earlier, Kyle, about, making movies that you want to see. And I always tell my listeners, go put your dollars, spend your money on the things that you like and to get more of them, and I think people are really critical about a lot of things right now. And I just feel like there's so many people came together to make this, and you're just sitting there. You just get to passively observe it. Just go enjoy it and take your thinking caps off and have a good time, So I agree. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to spend your morning with me. This is exactly why I love our Behind the Reel series, hearing how films are made, not just reviewed. And for anyone listening, the movie is Cuisine de l'Apocalypse. You can see it on Amazon Prime Video. Go check it out. And I really appreciate you guys. Thanks again, Kyle, Zuzu, and Kevin.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
This has been Behind the Reel with the Popcorn Priest. We'll see you guys next time.